We're on.
We're on. That's all I hear from now on.
Oh, I know.
This is gonna be a rough one.
Imagine when I was like trying to cut the first one, and you keep over and over to line it up and all that stuff. We're on, people.
We're gonna have to come up with we need a tray here where we can have our beverages, our kinky chai lattes.
It might be distracting to keep stuff in our hands, anyways.
Yeah, but I'm still gonna do it.
For sure. Everyone's gonna be watching, thinking, when is that gonna fall? When am I gonna jump around?
Bro, all I heard was
and knock it over.
People are gonna keep watching. That's literally all I heard.
All right, if you guys are watching to watch this fall, we should start putting your bets now since the podcast has started.
Yeah, you know what? It's there.
Start your timers now, and we'll see how long it takes.
What do we think the realistic consequence of me doing this? It's gonna fall.
I feel like it's actually, to be really honest, I've sat here a lot and put things there, and it's pretty efficient.
Even with this, because usually I'll use my yoga block. I've never used it for yoga, but I've used it as a coaster for most of my meals and drinks on this couch.
But I mean, the coaster essentially is the yoga. The yoga block was your coaster. It's still a flat surface.
Do you know what we're doing right now? We're doing what we did last time, where we just completely forget to introduce ourselves. We just fucking talk. We just start talking about nonsense.
Okay, well then, what should we be doing right now?
Hi, I'm Scott.
I'm Addie.
And this is the worst intro of any podcast ever. But we realized that we didn't say our names.
It's because I'm so distracted by the police sirens.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Do you think they can hear the police? Probably, huh?
Of course they could hear the police sirens.
We just want you guys to know it's not for us.
Or, I don't know. Maybe it is.
It's not for us. We haven't done anything that warrants paranoia like that in a long time. I haven't trespassed anywhere in quite some time.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since I think I've trespassed as well.
Yeah. I haven't had to look over my shoulder.
Yeah. For cops.
Breaking the law.
Breaking the law. Okay.
Anyways, so we're trying to introduce ourselves.
Back to what we were doing.
I'm Scott. This is Addie. This is our podcast. Do a smile. Which one do you want to smile at? Middle one?
I smiled at all of them at one point.
Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot of cutting.
Yeah. For our, what would you call them? Streaming listeners? Audio listeners? That are not watching the video, I am looking at cameras.
Oh, that's right. I forgot people like myself actually don't really watch.
Yeah. That's okay. So, welcome to the Monkey Brain Podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to get to that mind chatter right off the back again.
We're in it. We're dick deep in the mind chatter right now. I'm sorry, I said dick deep.
We can't even... we put up the other podcast and every other Google Play, Spotify, we have it on, everything approved it but iTunes, and I'm curious if it has something to do with what we discussed on the last one.
They're not partnered with Disney at all, are they?
I don't know.
It's hard to tell these days, I know.
It's Apple.
I feel like Apple is owned or partnered with Disney, but maybe not yet. Maybe I'm seeing the future. I'm calling it now though if it happens.
Yeah.
I don't know why iTunes. Yeah, we said the F word sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know.
We didn't talk about anything untoward.
I don't think so. Nothing compared to other podcasts.
Yeah. So.
I don't know. Anyways.
So here's our podcast.
Hopefully we'll get that reviewed and we'll be on iTunes soon.
For all you Apple users who are just...
For all you Apple users.
Just waiting.
But...
Just wait a little longer.
Wait a little longer and we'll be there.
It'll be good foreplay.
But yeah, so I guess that's who we are. This is the podcast. Essentially, if like you guys know what the monkey brain is essentially your chatter, your ego that tends to be all lies pretty much. And the idea is to meditate, to cut out the chatter, to release the ego, and to tap into your heart, the truth, or some also say the ox brain, which is calm and methodical. So what we do on here is no one is perfect. We all have a monkey brain. And so we've decided to invite you guys into our monkey brain, our mind chatter. And yeah, because sometimes, there is some truth to the ego, but it is also good to get it out and ground yourselves and be accountable for those thoughts so that you can process what you feel is the truth out of them. Because you're obviously expressing something.
Right, and I feel like we're both on the same page as far as the balance goes, where you're going to need the monkey brain, the ego, you're going to need that stuff, but you need the ox as well. And it's fine to reside in both of those, but really need to watch the mind chatter, because I personally get lost. I get lost in my own head sometimes. I don't know how to get out. I'll walk around this apartment in fucking circles, just think of my thoughts and trying to get to a different place and not, and I keep coming back, literally and symbolically, in a circle,
right,
with that mind chatter. So this is kind of a good way to help us get out some of that shit. I know right before we started producing, you were having this energy inside, you're almost like vibrating. You're like, man, I got something.
Right.
But we had to set up these cameras, and it was very methodical. And I know you were just like trying to burst out of your fucking. You know what I mean? Like,
it's funny because, but real quick, move up your mic a little bit. I can see your sound level.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, this is the first of the drinking games that they can play at home with the monkey brain. So we noticed that our first episode, I fuck with my mic a lot because I'm not a professional person and I'm not used to doing this.
Just gotta play with it and everything.
Well, I don't want to.
But going back to what we were talking about this unsettled monkey brain. So yeah, I think like we fall into these, I call them manias. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're confident in them. Like, for instance, we have to set up these cameras, right? And the goal is because we got to shoot this podcast. And we got to set up the mics and get the sound and do all that check and everything. And I think sometimes when you're younger, you get really sloppy with that. And you're not sure. You're in discomfort of taking the steps for each part. Not truly understanding that, like, it's really cliche to say the journey, right? You just think in the end-goal, but you don't. We call it the journey, but it's actually
parts. Say parts.
It's parts,
segments or whatever.
It's parts, steps, segments, moments, everything. It's just realistic to understand that everything is built on top of what happened before.
Yeah.
So when you're doing something like a preparation for something like this, you have to calm yourself down. You have to be mindful because everything's about positioning, right? We need to position the mics for our sound, for us to feel comfortable,
we
for us
need
to
reposition.
We have to be able to project our voices. Cameras have to be a certain way, so on and so forth.
Yep.
So, and that's done with shutting out doubt, fear, shutting out, there's like an anxiety or this need to like move through things. Like, that's your monkey brain too.
Dude, and to that, I noticed that when we set up, because we're recording all this on phones.
Yeah,
it's all done on phones. When we have our phone set up and we're doing all the other prep and there's some downtime, I'm like in my brain going to reach for my phone to check my phone. And that's its own form of fucking monkey chatter.
Yeah.
That's some chattering in my head. It's just like, oh, phone, what am I missing on the phone? What alerts am I not seeing right now? And it's over there and I can't fuck with it.
It's layers, right? Because that's the thing. The monkey brain is so dynamic. And right. I think that's what makes it, it can be an enemy. And I think that's why, sometimes I have people that talk to me and they'll be, going through something and they'll be like, yeah, I just need, to spend time alone and think or deal with my thoughts, work out my thoughts and everything. And there are constructive thoughts, right? Yep. I think there totally are. And I also think that going through the ups and downs is actually, there is no right and wrong, It's just how do you react, your behavior based on those feelings or what you're going through is what's important, because there's a social, price you pay every day to be alive in a society. There's some accountability, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that too can kind of echo in your head sometimes as monkey chatter. But also just in the sense of you can sit at home and work out your problems, and that's very healthy to have self-preservation. But I think what can be scary is we can also get caught up in our thoughts that are destructive and run around in those circles. And we are creatures of community. We need
Inhabit.
We inhabit, and we need to be touched. We not just like
Not
physically.
randomly.
Not
We were talking about this before. We don't like when people just like
no
come up and touch us. We like to
Yeah.
have specific people.
Right. And I think, but like being touched, whether it's like physically in a very affectionate way, or being touched by your heart, being touched intellectually, stimulated emotionally, things like that, and those things happen from talking with people. And I think what we tend to have happen when we are stuck in a rut, and we are in that place where we're trying to lick our wounds and protect ourselves, and we can rationalize not needing to be around anybody, but those thoughts also can lead to not wanting to be around.
Which is up until today. I think that's exactly what I've been going through.
Yeah.
Been hard to with the monkey brain. It's been
Right.
hard to leave, to physically exit the fucking door. It's just hard to walk out the door.
Right.
Because I'm just doing circles with the monkey brain, and I know what's out there. There's nothing.
Yeah, and you're like, and you're just walking around in circles.
Is it that
you
monkey?
know that clapping monkey?
Yeah, the creepy monkey. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
That's essentially what it is. That's the chatter.
yeah. With that face, that's
With that face, because there's nothing. I don't think there's a, let's say for instance, narcissism is a form of monkey chatter.
Right.
Like I think it's monkey chatter. And art comes from what we consider great art comes from narcissism. You know what I mean? Staying in that pain, maybe that victimhood, sitting in that, and you gotta understand, like, perception writes everything in your head.
Mm-hmm.
That monkey chatter, like, that's another reason why you need like a baseline, a reference point. Part of that means like you need to be grounded around the people you are around. So I pick the right people. Hopefully your family dynamics is healthy, things like that, because your perception can make the whole world against you, or it can make you feel like the world's on your side.
Yeah.
Like the whole world thinks you're ugly, or the whole world makes you think you're beautiful. Like the whole world is going to hold you down, or you have all the opportunities in the whole world. And I always say that, right? It's like that gratitude digging or searching, and it's just like flipping, right? Your perception on the world, because we can really rationalize taking ourselves out of this world. Like, I think like you had came to visit me last year after I went through my thing, where like, especially, and this happens a lot with people I've talked with and that have like reached that place where they meditate, like, for years. And you've come to this like these realizations, and we say like none of this matters, right? Like essentially, the responsibility we have goes back to having like a social currency, right? So if we take ourselves out, we're not responsible for anything in society anymore, right? And we don't have to deal with the repercussion, right? Because none of this matters, no matter what you leave in the grand scheme of the universe. Like, yes, you do play a part, but you can rationalize it to not mean anything. Whereas the flip side is all this can matter. None of this matters, but all this matters. And you decide, you have that free will to decide, and there is this power inside you to decide and do what you want to do. So it's just a flip of the perception, right?
Right.
And that's why
both seem fairly difficult to navigate. Both extremes, I should say.
And intellectually, you can navigate to them, though. You can get to them, right? Maybe you can't decide which way is correct, because we do have this innate. We're both. I believe this. I believe both sides are trying to protect ourselves, like coddle ourselves all the time, and that's what fear does. Like, it's hard to be vulnerable. And I think what happens is, out of fear, which, if you've gotten hurt, you don't want to get hurt again. Like a monkey too. Like, you've seen they've tested chimps in the like that instant, like, no, I'm not fucking with this shit anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
lesson learned.
Yeah, lesson learned. And
Yeah.
you'll see like the monkeys react or the chimpanzees react in these experiments, and but like naturally, that's us. Like we react, we're like, oh shit, like I don't want that pain anymore. I don't want the pressure of doing anything anymore, right? So it's natural for us to want to coddle ourselves and keep us shut off, and and we associate the same pain of doing the right things and living our truth and the challenges and the scars that we need to grow, and we don't realize, like, objectively, whatever that path is that path, but we internalize in our perception, we judge what is good and bad and everything, and we just don't want to feel anything. And of course we need to encourage, let's say a scientific way, encourage our existence. Like we need to make healthy choices that don't put ourselves in danger, but also we don't want to atrophize our mind where we just sit around and we don't do anything and we don't contribute something. Right. So that's where like that mind chatter can get really dangerous, and narcissism, tends to be like that main point where you're still it's narcissism when we're adult, but when we're teenagers, it's called like, it's like some type of narrative. I forget exactly what the psychology term is.
Okay.
But
only differentiated because of age?
It's funny because you're supposed to grow out of it. You're a narcissist is not something you want to be called when you're adult, but you can describe this phenomenon when you're a teenager, or someone can describe this in teenagers. And it's basically like the whole world's judging you, the whole world's looking at you. Oh my God, like I have a pimple, like everyone's gonna see it, or oh, I can't wear this, I can't go to school today.
Can
like,
you see Can you see my red pen?
No, I can't see it.
Okay.
Yeah. But you think the world can see it. It's right.
I think the camera's zoomed in on it right now.
I know, it's like, yeah. But so I wish I could remember, and it's going to come to me later when we're talking. But I think what that is you're supposed to grow out of it. Like when you're a toddler, you're learning no. Like all of a sudden there's like, no, you have limitations.
Yeah.
Like the word no, which I don't think kids hear that much anymore these days. And then when you're like a teen, like adolescent, it's very much like me, because you're going through all this emotional change and you have all this energy and everything. And then by the time you're in your 20s, like I think like the way our society's set, like there's so many lines we're supposed to cross that are supposed to celebrate certain things, and maybe people don't get to them or don't do them the way they thought they would do them. And that creates a different type of narcissism, because you just feel like depression is this. It's you see something, you have a reference point in your head, and you think you're not measuring to it. It's an inadequacy with a false reference point.
Does that have to do with imposter syndrome?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah.
I mentioned that to somebody, it was either today or yesterday. She'd never heard about that term before.
Wow.
She's like, that's exactly what I'm feeling right now. She succeeded. She did something where she succeeded. She succeeded.
She succeeded with seashells.
By the seashore. Yeah,
She succeeded selling seashells at the seashore.
Dude, that was fucking amazing. Well done. Wow, dude, that was impressive. That's what that Ivy League education's taught you. Fucking J school.
Talking about imposter syndrome.
And that's what I took what you were talking about from that. What you talk about from going to Columbia and being like not feeling like you measure up. I told her the same thing, and she's like, wow, like that helps a lot to know that I'm not the only person feeling this.
Yeah. Dude, it's so diabolical, and that goes back to the monkey brain. I like thought I was passing classes by like smoothing my way out of them through them, navigating. Even though I was getting assignments, I was making deadlines, everything. Yeah. I was literally sitting with a therapist, and I even called my mom, like, Mom, I think they're just passing me because, like, I would say really esoteric stuff, like something like I'm habitually like an old cat when it comes to writing, like the lead. I like old school New York Times type stuff where the lead was a couple sentences in. Like you'd come in with like a lead, but it would be like the banger would be second sentence or third sentence or whatever. And I think like my professor was like, you need to get exactly to the point. And I said something stupid, esoteric, like, well, in physics, there's actually not such thing as an exact point. And she just kind of like, whatever, like,
This is journalism school.
Yeah. And I think like I'm smart enough to know exactly what they want, but
You're
this
still
is
gonna do
my
whatever
style.
you want.
Yeah.
Well, it's
all
important to have
arbitrary.
your own style right now. It's very important, and it's not like, oh, let's just celebrate only the self. It's just right now we have the freedom to be and do kind of what we want,
Right.
and that's not always been the case.
I mean, like
The royal we, not we, but
yeah, the world we were in.
yeah.
I think being in organized news, there is a structure, and I always wonder if it's like a natural thing that we just feed into our minds, like since our education has set that
The
up.
structure of it.
Like the way we take in stuff is
Yeah.
the way we've been taught to create it, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really fascinating that even with the time duration changing, we still stick to this like structure of storytelling.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's really fascinating.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I'm not.
But I mean,
storyteller.
it's, I think when we were talking about it, it's the same thing from when we were in school. Like anything you write, it's still, that's what I mean. Like if we storytell, it's still in a formula that you're familiar with because you did that in your academic career.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you're already kind of expecting something because of the structure that I think across everything there is a sense of a universal structure of storytelling is what I'm trying to say. So as an audience, you're already kind of like expecting that next step in a story or part.
And then we're always blown away when somebody's telling us a story in a different way that we didn't expect.
Right.
Which I think is what directors like Tarantino in the beginning or whatever came and everyone's like, oh my god, the end in the beginning? What?
Oh my God, right? Like, and I think that's what makes you excited. Like, it's breaking the rules, right?
Right.
But doing it
It's bending.
bending.
You're breaking the rules. You're not even like, you're not giving a conclusion. Like you're telling a story that doesn't have the complete parts. But if you're still getting the story in, you're just bending it, twisting it into a pretzel. The rules.
Pretzelizing.
Pretzel. Ooh. Pretzel.
Pretzelizing.
Fucking love pretzels.
Like if you're breaking or bending the rules, you've done it in a way that feels like it's right? So there's an awareness of knowing the actual rules, right? And I think it goes back to the audience also is aware of what the rules are, right?
Does it?
Well, you were just saying right off the bat, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, you do. And then you're like, I like this director because he breaks the rules. And these are the movies I like.
the rules.
Bends the rules.
Rules are important.
Rules are important. And I guess this is all...
Sorry, not rules. Back to the structure of things, I think, is what's important. Like
structure. Like I was
because then
saying.
you can play with the structure.
You can play with
mold
structure.
it. You don't have to be confined by it,
Right.
but you know how to launch from it.
How did I get here?
Bro, I don't know. Get us out.
How
Get
did-
us out.
I don't know how to get out.
We
got
just
here.
monkeyed our way into something that I don't fucking know. I have
Yeah.
no clue.
Yeah.
So,
All right. What was the next thing you wanted to get to?
fuck, I don't know.
You have a list.
It's all the way over there, and I wrote it down for a reason because I don't remember things. Let me see this
Can't read
sticky
your
note.
handwriting.
Let me see this sticky note. I can't read yours either, by the way.
Yeah, I know
Which is
that.
the craziest thing because I figured if I can read mine, I should be able to read yours.
Yeah, but we have two different writing styles.
Yeah, and they're both really shitty. They're really bad. And I
I
can't fix
actually
it.
don't get that. I get compliments.
You get compliments?
Yeah.
Bro, I was told, I was helping out, right? And I was like, hey, just write these words on an envelope because this is what it's
Yeah.
going to be for. In my best, I went so slow and I was doing it so like whatever. And it still was crooked. It still came out shitty. They were very polite about it. They looked at it and they're like, thank you. Like, I appreciate it. And I could tell by the tone, I was like, do you just want to print that out? And they're like, yeah, I'm just going to do that.
See, I think because being left-handed, like, I had to, like, my writing was always being criticized because, the direction's different. Like, when you're someone that's left-handed, you watch someone doing something with the right, you have to take it in and then reverse it into the left and do it. And then my mom also taught calligraphy, and then I also had to write Arabic.
Oh God.
So so I was always having to like get pressed on about the way I wrote,
Right.
and it just like drove me crazy. And then with the Arabic thing, they were trying to break my not break it literally, but stop me writing with my left hand,
Right.
trying to get me to the right hand. So I was like, really, my writing, if you see it, it looks like a lot of slashes.
Yep.
It's slash, 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 slash,
Yeah,
slash, slash, like that.
Yeah.
And if I really, really had to write like Danielian printing or something like that, I could or whatever. Or if I really had to meticulously like write that, but this is my like
Dude,
who I am and stuff
you
like
just
that.
opened my eyes to something. I get now. Okay, so I'm gonna tie that pen in now.
Yeah.
I'm tying the pen in right now.
I got the
and I
pen
don't
in.
even know how we did this, but the pen. So I used. Okay, Addie's got this pen that he loves. Show the pen. Show off your pen. It's a fine pen. Great pen. I just used it to write my notes. I hate it. I'm sorry. I hate your pen, and this is why. To me, it feels very, very, very sharp. Like I'm gonna poke through this thing. Now, for my writing style, slow, sort of like sloppy. I can write in print, but like it'll look like cursive still because I get lazy with my certain things. I like that thick ink. I like it to roll and almost paint the ink on there. But you just said when you're doing your writing, you're slashing through. You're almost cutting your letters with a samurai sword of ink into the fucking paper.
Real quick, what's fascinating,
which is what that feels like writing
for
with.
me. Yeah, but for me, this feels like it's a lot of ink. Like if you
That's
say I'm
insane
cutting,
to me.
I feel like it's bleeding, and I love that feeling.
I felt more like it was cutting. You know what that felt like? If I was a tattoo artist and I was doing the tattoos, it felt like it's cutting a little groove into the paper and leaking the ink in there.
Ooh,
like leaking
yeah,
it in.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
It might be that.
I think that's what it is.
It's really leaving.
But I get
its
it now,
track.
though, because you're literally, when you're writing, you're fucking, you're doing things and you're slicing and dicing like Fruit Ninja.
Yeah.
You write like, you write like Fruit Ninja, bro.
I write like Fruit Ninja.
Yeah, you write like Fruit Ninja. And I write like something else. I don't know what. I don't play many games. Why don't you let us know what's an opposite of Fruit Ninja game?
Okay, yeah. So that's fair.
Bro, we could do like a handwriting a post too.
We could.
We should probably do that.
So this is called like the ink precision, and this is specifically the R2. And you can get these at the Dollar Tree, and I like, oh shit.
Oh my god.
Okay, I like kind of knew what I was getting, like what I was looking for when I went to the Dollar Tree. I was looking, because we literally have one just like across the street, so I needed a pen, and I just know these like ink pens, like sharp ink pens.
Yeah.
Like I know how they write, and I always like what you don't like, I guess.
Yeah.
But for me, they really like it comes out.
Yeah.
Like really dark and shit, and I just feel like, because for me it feels like it's sliding when I write. And what's funny is it's specifically these R2 that I like. The other version, it's just the regular ink precision.
Yeah.
These are, maybe it's like ink is a really big brand. I don't know for sure or not. But it's at the Dollar Tree store. So I don't know if it's like an amazing brand or just a
Ink
cheap
is the
brand.
brand?
It's the brand, yeah. Ink,
Precision is
Precision's the design.
So what, make, model, and then...
And then R2 is this version.
Jesus.
Yeah.
They're like cars now.
They've always been.
Get the ink precision R2.
Dude,
like
if
the
you've
sport
been into
model.
pens and like,
I'm not
there's
into
always
pens.
a design.
But
That's
people
what
are into
makes,
pens,
like,
though.
Pens so amazing.
Yeah. I know people love their
A really
pens
nice
and stuff.
pen.
Okay,
And
so...
think when you used to do long-handed shit.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
now we're dating.
If I'm
ourselves.
not writing in this, I'm writing in a Sharpie.
See, I do like Sharpies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's even funner to do that in.
Yeah.
But yeah, this pen, I think it's like really affordable, and if I give it to people, I keep the cap.
That's smart.
So
For
I get
fucking
it back.
thieves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to borrow a pen, if you ever lend out a pen, keep the cap because you'll get it back.
Pro tip.
Yeah.
Life tip.
Life
hack.
Life hack.
Life
forever.
hack. If you want to keep your pens, retain your pens. Wait, if you want to keep your pen, retain the cap.
You just really made it more complicated.
Yeah. Monkey brain.
Keep the cap, get the pen back.
Ooh. Yeah, that's kitschy. That rhymes. That's something you'd see on the subway.
Yeah. Bic. Hey.
Is
or ink.
Precision
Or
ink.
if you see that fucking any pen company uses that, fucking I get paid for that, okay?
Documented.
Because that's way too quick and easy to say that you'd see that on a fucking
This is
bus
proof,
or
right?
something.
I think it's legally binding. We have a few lawyer listener friends.
Yeah, we're lawyered up.
We're lawyered up. The very best in
The very best. They've passed the bar, California bar, so they're official.
They're wicked good.
They're wicked good.
Wicked good. They passed the bar and
They
everything.
work fucking hard.
Yeah, fucking real hot. Say hi to your mother.
It doesn't help that I have a socks hat on.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't even realize we were channeling that.
I know, right?
Yeah, you got your socks colors on right now.
Yeah, I just felt like we need to turn it up for each time. If we're on camera, we gotta look a little different every time.
My only sadness right now, the only heaviness in my heart. Speaking of socks, you can't see our kick-ass socks. Our sock games.
They can see your socks.
They can see mine right here. Oh yeah, fucking strong. Sock game's real strong today. Eddie, do you know what brand those socks are?
I don't know what they're called offhand right now. I know there's some type of brand. That
there's not a tag in your socks. Why are you looking in there?
There is.
There's not a. Don't show. I'll look later because that's
right
ridiculous.
there though.
Are you? Okay. No, I believe.
I normally
believe
know what it
Please
is, but it's not. In fact, like, I like their sock game, and I think people would actually recognize these that are on the sock game. I forget the name right now.
Probably. You know what I like about those? They're ribbed. They look like crew socks.
Yeah.
Comfy, thick crew.
Yeah.
But they're fun. Whereas these are like those thin dress sock material.
Yeah, I feel
Which is
like
fine.
I could play a basketball game in these.
It's getting so cold already.
In fact, they do make they make sports socks too.
The ankle ones or the whatever.
Full
okay?
ones. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm burping.
Burping the kinky chai.
Burping the kinky chai.
Hey. Kinky chai. Cheers.
Cheers to kinky chai.
Kinky chai lattes are the official drink of the Monkey Brain podcast. TM.
So I'm burping a little bit about that.
That's fine. But anyways, yeah, socks are cool. I really wish I had the warmer ones for the New York weather coming up because they're not fun, you know.
What was so clutch when I came is my mom. She like sent me a whole box of like these wool socks, and so socks. in the winter time in New York, if you get cold, you just wear those.
You know, like onomatopoeia, words that retain that, like the sound or the whatever it's called. What's the word for like when you say a word and it evokes emotion? Like when I say wool socks, that makes me feel. No, it's not words, you asshole. It makes you feel the fuzzy. It makes you feel like your heart is
cathartic?
Made of wool. No, not cathartic. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
A cathartic word?
If you know, let us know. If there's a fancy word for words that
make you feel.
Jesus, I think it really is just words. That's the
words invoke emotions.
But there's certain ones that make you feel super warm and fuzzy, like wool socks.
Yeah, those are called words too. They're not special words.
Special.
Arbitrary words.
So now some words are better than others.
Maybe it's some words. Well, you know what? Maybe because there's words that people don't like.
Yeah.
I just did this like this 10 question thing, and people were complaining that I used the F word as my favorite word. They just didn't get why I thought it was so amazing.
What would were the complaints like? I don't like.
They weren't ready to hear it.
We're 2 or 3 decades away from Carlin's stand-up about the usage of the word fuck. I feel like people should get over that.
I was so shocked because like the way I was using the word was like I forgot now.
I remember you were like, my favorite word is fuck, and it was very much for the reasons that Carlin did his stand-up. Like it's so versatile. You can use it in all sorts of moods. All you have to do is change your tone,
Right.
or the context
Right.
of how you say it,
Right.
and that's your favorite word. I get
And
it.
I to add on to it now, because that was for like a more of a positive, like teach yourself how to be good type post.
Well, you probably shouldn't have said
But
fuck then.
I'm gonna be 100% real.
And
but
you should be.
And this is like to add on to it is like, dude, like we should not be making sex in any form seem bad.
Yeah, well, that's an uphill battle for America, man.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
and that's what gives people so much anxiety. That's why people feel so insecure. That's why people feel the need to censor me. Is because they're not in touch with their like or comfortable with a word that might be an innuendo sometimes.
It's that hard K ending. Fuck. You know, and you can really like what's it called? Like draw it back like a bow, like fuck, and then you let it.
Yeah.
This is the ASMR section.
Yeah, this is the ASMR section of the Monkey Brain podcast.
Or we just make sounds.
Yeah, like, so that's so crazy, like, to have a censorship. So then they just had to, like, repost it and put a discretionary post.
I'm going to censor in the post-production. I'm going to censor something that's, like, benign.
I know.
And bleep something out, but people aren't going to know.
Yeah. Well, it's like those bits where they'll take politicians and they'll bleep out what they're talking about and it can sound like something bad.
Which are always fun.
Yeah. And, I had spoke with someone too about like cancel culture, and I was like saying like, some people are just not old enough to be canceled. Like they grew up in a time where, the society's at a place where like their conversation was a lot more healthy and I think more progressive. I hate using that word.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know what else to
I want to use a better word than that.
We'll come up with it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Not like they grew up in a time where like our national conversation's different.
Mm.
But when we were young, like I grew up in Massachusetts, like, people were talking a certain way.
Right.
And then even California, like where we lived, like, it's like new to be so concerned about all different type of communities. To also be so informed about so many different communities, like very informed. And when I mean informed, like be able to empathize. That's like, it was easy to be who you were back in the day when we didn't have the internet. Still, we're not globalized enough. We only really dealt with the people around us,
right?
Like within our community. Like literally, when the word community had a different connotation back in the day. So you're basically if 200, 300, 400 people are all knuckleheads talking about something, that knuckleheadness, and I think we talked about this last week when we were talking about like these teachers that had done something in class, it never got out.
Right.
So like that knuckleheadness stays within that area. You're definitely a product of that knuckleheadness for a while. And then, you, with the modern globalization, with the internet, with moving, with meeting people, with reading, with maturing.
Do you remember the Chappelle skit when they're talking about like the white people only realized the police brutality against black folk when they print it in Newsweek?
Yeah. Oh,
look honey, apparently they're beating up black people like hotcakes. Yeah. It's that very thing right there.
Right. And so I think there's a generation that feels like maybe it's great that they feel this social accountability or responsibility, to make sure no one's feelings are hurt. And that is good when the motivation is from a really good place. But I think if the motivation was from a good place, then when you're faced with something that challenges this new way that we look at things, that you would make an educational process. You would try to like, oh, where was this coming from? You know what I mean? Like, what was the time? What, or wow, this person's came this far, like from holding those views or saying something like that to now living. Like, I think what people think it is when someone in the public eye is prospering off of a view that's changed, other people that do not benefit or feel like they've worked hard, or they feel like they're fighting for the cause, or they just don't want to see that person win, feel like that's what it is they feel like that person's just benefiting from changing their view, and they wouldn't have changed their view unless they would benefit, and there's like not an authenticity to it. But what's fascinating about the person that's judging that is, what is your authenticity to your feelings about yourself and how you project it onto someone else? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you understand the human mind, you understand the human heart, you understand inside, if you're dealing, like, let's say with like a view of the LGBTQ community, or you're dealing with a view of like a religious or a racial community, like, you have to dig deep inside to grow, to want to accept that, to promote that in the first place. Like, to come far enough and to sit in a place of hate, and then to work out inside your head. And that's what I mean by the healthy truth, and not the mind chatter that was creating that bad. You've actually grown and thought about things, and you come to this conclusion that, oh, these are not the way I should look at things or talk about certain things. That is what people should be realizing, is that graduated thinking, that maturation. Instead, everyone wants to take you back to that moment, wants everybody to remember you as that, because they don't like the fact that you graduated, you evolved, you moved forward. People hate people evolving.
I don't even think some of them consider evolution as part of life experience. I think they won't even get to that depth of thinking. They'll just revert to that pattern of behavior.
Yeah.
It won't even occur to them that, oh, as people we grow over time and experience.
Right.
Because they will always stay with that. This is not everybody, but there's certain people, a certain type of person.
You know, like, because I have like a lot of Bengali followers, or the Bangladeshi American community follows me, and they're always like, how do you live the way you live and everything? And, you know, because I guess culturally I come off as not living culturally, right? And it's that, and I've been faced with, you know, I've had relationships with people that dip into like the way I look at life, but can't do it for themselves. And it's because that fear to be free.
And to be clear to the audience who don't know you well, you're a bit edgy for your community.
Right.
For your Bengali community.
I think, yeah, edgy is a good word.
Edgy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's easy to say like, oh, it's because you're mixed. Like,
yeah.
But that's not it. It comes from just a more, I think, artistic, eccentric place inside.
I think also there's like foundational beliefs in Bengali culture. And one of them that's not really Bengali right now is Islamic culture. Mm-hmm. Some people argue Islamic isn't a word, but I use it.
Islamic is not a word?
Yeah, because in Arabic, no one describes anything as being Islamic.
How would they describe
You're Muslim. You do things.
So we should say as in the Islam. Muslim community.
Islam is like a verb almost.
Okay.
Yeah. So submitting, it's like surrendering, right? So I think people are confused with my faith, and they, you know, you only see what you see on Instagram. You only see you might see what I write or express, like whatever. So I think people are in a lot of like qualms with their own faith and spirituality and their beliefs, and don't know the background story of how I got here, and like my upbringing, and knowing that this took a lot of work. And so like that goes back to freedom is scary, and people don't want to be free.
Right.
Because that means like, you know, people see just the outcome. Like, I have a great relationship with my parents now. Or I have a community that actually wants me to be part of it now. Right? You know, academically, I'm great now. You know, I have a job now.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. Like, maybe my bio data is hot now. You know, like...
Bio data?
You know, like in brown culture, we have like it's basically like a wedding resume for arranged marriages, and you call it a biodata.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but people don't know the story between now and back then.
Right.
You know, they don't know
They don't allow you to take those boxes they've checked you in: Islam, Bengali, half white, and they don't see like, oh, he can take those foundational things, and through his experiences, it means something completely different to him.
Right.
And as he's expressing it, it's not the same as I've met with, let's say I'm the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to come out completely different than you.
Right.
Anyways.
Right.
And then to take it even deeper, we've talked about this a little bit I'm not going to say Islamic, in the Muslim community. Is that?
Yeah.
No, sorry.
Muslim
in
community.
Islam,
Or
there's
Islam.
also sex
Groups. Yeah. Sects.
Groups?
Yeah.
Sects.
Sects.
I remember talking
Sex.
about sects. I really do want to say sex.
Sex. There's
I have a
some-
speech impediment,
Yeah.
that kind of mushy and slurry mouth. Sex. But sects,
Yeah.
where you've described yourself more as like a Sufi,
Right.
A little more spiritual, a little more. How would you say Sufism?
Mystic.
Mystic is probably pretty
Yeah.
good. Huh?
And that's funny because, like, I think, like, my parents, like, so we were raised originally, like, Sunni Muslim.
Okay.
And then, I think in my early 20s is when I was really trying to come to terms with everything.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I think you're kind of the same too. Like, you'd have these, like, religious ups and downs,
Yeah, absolutely.
right?
Mine was latter portion of high school.
Yeah. And I, in high school, had one of those swings too at a moment. Because I was always in Sunday school, and then when I got into high school, I was in youth group.
Yeah, same.
So, yeah, right? So, that was there, and then you go... Isn't that so fun? Okay. High school's weird because you're so fucking scared of God, but you're horny. You're like...
Oh, God.
so
dude.
much peer pressure to do so many things. You're just not getting along with your parents.
And
like,
in my youth group, they were not shame. They wouldn't like outright shame, but they would shame. But they would definitely look and look at you if you were like holding hands with your girlfriend
Yeah.
or boyfriend, or if you like, dude, even sitting next to them in the youth group I was in high school,
Yeah.
they would be like, hey, I don't think you guys are really able to focus on God when you're so close to each other. Like, maybe you should like sit on opposite sides or.
Yeah, like I think every parent's view that like children are just all a mess and everything's crazy is also like another side. Like there are very religious like kids that, and let's just be real, like the same like parents, it just multiplies, becomes like adultery, substance abuse, all these things. Like kids are facing it, and imagine when your foundation feels so shaky because you're not sure what God is because you're chemically imbalanced.
You're like, I just realized there's God.
Yeah, and
I
horny.
need to do something about this.
I'm
so horny.
I'm so horny.
I'm so horny.
I feel so guilty
so
for
violent.
feeling this way. And then you're like shaky with your parents. Your household's crazy. School like is like a fucking
Running you
marathon.
ragged from pre-dawn.
Yeah.
We were just talking about this too. Getting kids up pre-dawn and getting them into school until the fucking afternoon.
It's such a marathon, like with sports and everything too. So like you're cracking by the time you hit your 20s, right?
Yeah.
And then I think for me, what was crazy because 9/11 happened, and that's associated with Islam.
Our senior year of high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
That had
like
to be rough.
I was just going through all these crazy feelings, and yeah, like I think like I was mixed with what I had been taught and not so much what I had read. And when I had read something, I had done it in either a sense of skepticism to prove my points of wanting to reject Islam, or I read things in like a false narrative that I had been taught, so I couldn't see the truth in it. And I think the biggest thing was like this oh my god,
Obnoxious?
I get in my omnipotence of God. Omnipotent of God. I could say it in my head, but then it like didn't want to come.
Yeah.
It was stuck in my nose.
I get words like that.
But like I was stuck in that sense of this like all-knowing. So in your love and you're merciful and you're all the great things, but you're like letting all this bad shit happen. When you're young, like you can't see, you only know contradictions. Like, you need contradictions to stand your ground, because we don't know this, but as a teenager, you have nothing to stand on. So you can only stand on calling someone out wrong.
I don't resonate with this at all.
There is nothing to stand on when you're young. That's why, like, you're pushing against your boundaries. That's like a natural thing.
When you say nothing to stand on, what do you mean? Maybe
like,
I don't understand.
you don't own anything. You don't have, you don't have control of your environment. You're still, you're thinking more dynamically, but you don't have dynamic real estate. You get what I'm saying?
Kind of, but
you don't have power.
So there's a little bit. Here's what I'm having trouble is with me. When my parents divorced, eighth grade, freshman year maybe, I don't remember. I remember it was just now me and my mom and my little sister. I distinctly remember being like, okay, this is now my turf to fucking protect. This is my house, and I'm the man of the house now. And so I remember, like, I would gather up, table legs and shit to keep my bed, for hitting, like I'm a goddamn puppet in whatever, Mr. Rogers or whatever that was. So I think for me, it was very much like, it wasn't even then too. Before it was like, I remember friends getting bullied. This is like grade school in Torrance before I moved. And I remember helping them like get out of the situation. Like I was an Underground Railroad, like, and we made it into a game where we eventually always ended up at the teacher if like the bully got too close or whatever. There was always that safety mechanism. But other than that, it was leading him on this fox hunt. And so I've always, as far as that, what am I standing on? It's always been like, I guess protection. I guess that's what I'm getting at. Is protecting other people.
Your motivation is still protection.
It's always been, exactly.
But I guess you were doing it in a very quiet, nice way. I was doing it in a, like, that's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Oh yeah, no, and this is where we differ totally. Is because I was very much a inward, and then all my actions or whatever, and you were very much like, bah! Yeah. And we talked about like where your anger and stuff comes from, and all that. Like, it was understandable to be that angry at your age in the situations that we were in,
right?
9/11, of course, being in super conservative white Temecula, all of it, dude.
And so I think like when it came to faith, like, one thing I had always found solace in was like music, which I think like everybody. So like for me, it was a lot of hip hop or classic rock. But the thing I liked about hip hop was literally these like the struggle, the writing of struggle, and that goes back to the monkey brain. Like, I was allowing music to have that conversation in my head, and the catharsis feeling of it empowered me. It gave me this sense of masculinity. It was aggressive, and I felt there was a connection to hip hop, especially like you call it like backpack hip hop or conscious hip hop, like not like the white hip hop, but like black Afrocentric was like tangled with like Muslim, Islamic like themes and everything. So I always felt like this kind of connection to it. And then this other side was like I had found a way to like justify drug use. Like, not like heavy heroin, cocaine. I wasn't really ever into those things, party drugs, but it was like the psychedelics, weed, I felt like I was always just trying to tap into God, or I was tapping into something at a moment when I'm like that. And so at that time, like, those rejections with my parents, all that fighting's happening. I'm not being like productive in life at that time either. You know what I mean? I was fighting some battles. And
you're raging against the machine.
I was raging against the machine. And at some point, I was so disconnected, I thought there was the machine and the man was after me. And like, I had gotten that deep and that bad for like a year or two. And the world around me like was really concerned. And I think I had got to that point before I finally like woke up, So, and my parents were going through, when you grow up, you learn your parents are constantly going through their journey too. And their evolutionary journey had been during that time when I was going through all that in my early 20s, was being so worried that I was like going to end up in jail, dead, because I was just up to so many things. Their response was to like be religious, go for Hajj, do all that stuff. And then after that, like, we had so many different things happen that woke me up. Like I had so many things happen in my life. They happened to be like releasing the tension a little bit, like starting to evolve and start to wake up and rekindle their search for their faith and what their community meant. And that's when they were going to Sufism.
Okay.
And I wasn't in like, I had actually gone to a conclusion of God at the time where I wasn't thinking about like a religious God anymore. Like I had gone into that spiritual awakening where, you know, there's some like universal divine energy, but I wasn't thinking anymore in God or religion anymore. And they were the ones that were first going into the mystical side. 'Cause like, and I don't think it's important to have religion. Like now I'm in a place where I just kind of like, I'm in the moment. I don't really have to define it so much, but I do know there's a lot of different elements of religion in me. Mm-hmm. But at that time, like I was really like, I avoid it. I can discuss to you why it's not important, basically. And that, when I was married, that was like the basis of our relationship, was this clear rejection of any type of religion. Like that was my view of just like this pure energy driving and searching for that pureness. And that gave me solace and peace at the time. Nice. And it wouldn't be till after the divorce when I really like put myself in a vulnerable place and was like, you know what, anything I've been rejecting in the past, I don't have to take on. I can just appreciate. Like, let's just start appreciating everything. And so that's been my like digestion for like the last 5 years, is anything that comes across me, I feel like is like purposeful, and to gain that knowledge and understand it. And if I see it fitting, it becomes part of me. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And so I think like, yeah, I'm in a very mystical place, and that challenges people that feel that they need to be 100%, you know, compulsory following a religion. I think it scares them that someone that's so knowledgeable, someone that's like raised in it so hardcore, doesn't practice it the way that they want to see it, because they're scared, because they practice it with fear, and that challenges them a lot.
They don't want to be wrong.
They don't want to be wrong. Yeah. So I think that in that sense that's scary. And I think you could probably like, your story would be the same way, pretty much. It's like,
I mean, I was telling you earlier, I was the guy in my high school sort of religious time. I was wearing those cheesy T-shirts.
Yeah, I remember.
Armor of God T-shirts.
You had like, dude, you
so many.
Had your Bible in your hand all the time.
Oh, dude, I took my senior pictures with a Bible in my hand. Not all of them, but there was definitely a few where I was just like, oh yes, like, I was like looking at the page,
my motivator, and I'm just gonna say this straight on out, is like, you know, I'm sex is on my mind all the time. So
all the time,
yeah, all the
time. Anyone who follows him on Instagram,
yeah,
it's blatant.
I love like,
not in a lewd fashion.
No,
in a very sensual way.
In a very sensual way. I think life is all about being sensual and beautiful and amazing, and everything I always think is an expression of like potential layness. Like you could get laid at any moment. So
except for right now, you're not
not right now, but there's maybe you know, but not to say I'm promiscuous like that, but there's this, I think that life has to be, you know, like you should feel like you're performing, like you're performing, not in a bad way. Like you should like feel natural and stuff.
Like you come to life.
You come to life.
You know when you hear those artists that perform and they're like, I'm my truest self when I'm performing, because it's just, they're not thinking and they're just boom.
Or just, no. I mean in the pure like celebrating yourself. Like I love myself. And
I would say that
I think that's like being sensual, sexual, intellectual, emotional, you know.
That's the performance you're talking about.
This is the performance.
Yeah.
Every moment is the performance.
No, every moment can't be performance.
No, this is the
performance. Then we need to change the word, though. Performance.
That's what I mean. It's not for other people. It's for you. Like, I think the person I love the most that does the performance is Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum is in his performance.
Do we
and
know?
His life is so exciting to him.
I'm really curious about whether, because you know, it's hard with celebrity.
Yeah.
Because one, we're given one perspective of celebrity, and then the other is how much of it is on camera, off camera. Goldblum strikes me as someone who's embraced, who always has been like this, but he's cranked it up a little bit because it works for him in his career as well.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I'm guessing
there has to still be
exactly,
a root.
exactly.
I
can't. The point is, I can't say one way definitively.
No.
All this,
but I think what enthralled me with Jeff Goldblum was I believe it was like Hot Ones or something, when he talks about his wife, and he's just like falling in love while he's talking about her.
Yeah,
and that's a beautiful thing.
And he speaks in that sensual way.
Yeah.
And when we talk about sensual too, it's not just like sex.
Right.
But sensual, when we talk about sensual, is really inspiring.
Creatures.
It's listening. It's those words. Yeah. It's the way he says it.
Yeah.
If you could smell, it would smell.
Yeah.
It's your senses, awakening your senses.
But it goes back to even like in, let's just say, like the affection, the flirtation, all that. Like it's unfortunate that people are uncomfortable with their sexuality. They're uncomfortable to feel beautiful. They're uncomfortable to be irresponsible. Like everyone's irresponsible. Yeah. Like people don't know how to be accountable. Just because you're like appreciate someone's beauty and someone appreciates your beauty doesn't mean you end up in bed together.
I would feel
we're all always horny.
But I'd feel a lot better if we didn't
come to terms with it or not.
Yeah, if we didn't have to get to that place where bed is the end goal.
Yeah,
I'd feel a lot more free.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is like in my head, like. Bed's not the end goal every day.
Sometimes I want to celebrate how beautiful this particular person is.
Right.
Without any ulterior motives sexually. But I know that at least over the last, 30, 50 years, it's been like, oh, guys have that ulterior motive, that
yeah, and
whatever.
It's unfortunate. And like I've been thinking of ways to articulate that actually, because like I don't want to like say I'm the good guy or something like that. Like, obviously, I've probably made
We're not
mistakes
white knights
or
anything
something
like that.
Yeah,
But don't get us wrong.
Yeah.
But
every woman I've dated or been in a relationship with has been raped or molested, right? They all have the guy that's done something horrific to them, put them in a place that their vulnerability makes them really scared. And every relationship I've been in, there's been an acting out of something on me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And the reason why I feel so confident is because I grew up with a mother with mental illness, and I had to be the buffer. Like, I had to always be the one that just, like, observed and let that person, act out their mania or whatever they were feeling, or abuse or whatever. So I attract those type of women. But even if I'm online and I see, like, the way women talk about men all the time, it's because they're hurt. Something's happened to them. So there are men that society obviously truthfully is a certain way as well.
Yeah.
There are men that have really messed it up for like good people.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then at the same time, like it does teach as well as like everybody does have to take a look at how they are. But at the same time, I also think that there are people that are still in a sense of thinking where there's no victimhood. Like they still can be themselves sexually, essentially. They can enjoy each other. And what this masses, the Me Too, the, PC culture, it is where that's trying to take on that, maybe. Like there are still, not everyone's dictated by the Twitter. You know what I mean? Like they say like 20% of Twitter makes 90% of the noise or 80% of the noise or something.
Right.
Like, I don't think the whole society is in like a sexual dilemma, but at the same time, I feel like there is some root to this anxiety that we do have some sense of like conditioning to be afraid to be sexual or sensual.
I think it's ingrained in the founding of the country.
The founding fathers.
No. The fucking the Quakers.
The Quakers.
Yeah, the Puritans coming over because they wanted to. They were like, this. I'm not jiving with my puritanical ways up here in England, and so I'm gonna go be more puritanical in this other land, and that's literally how we founded everything.
Right.
And that's what they built on.
And like Asian societies, what is now like Central South American, even North American before like colonized and the white man came, like sexuality, sensuality is so different. Even Islamic, I believe like the Prophet is someone that appreciated women. Obviously had different wives or multiple wives. You know, that's just natural. Like we shouldn't bastardize humans. Women love sex too.
Women do love sex.
Women love sex. Like I've only dated women that love sex.
Yeah.
So
and guess what? Some women and some men don't like sex.
Some don't like sex. Some, you know, only like sex at certain times, can't have it other times. Like trauma, so on and so forth. So there's an array, but yeah, like cultures like looked at it different. I think there is a tainted, you know, Western Christian, you know, like shame that's been draped over the world on how to view sex, and even like other cultures have kind of forgot the way they used to look at it. You know what I mean?
Like we don't want to go all the way back to ancient Greek and pedophilia. But we want to find a happy medium between that and sex, like stuff to, you know, with holes. What am sheets, sex sheets. You know,
like I feel like, you know, and obviously these are our philosophies, right?
We can only speak for ourselves, our own monkey brains.
But I feel like in a sense of there is so much beauty that we feel during sex, you know, and we don't really need, like, I'm someone that doesn't watch porn, right? And I believe that it's fake. It puts in my head something that's not realistic. It also like I love like, and I've figured this out, and why I stopped porn a few years ago was that I really like when I'm with a woman. Oh my God, like I can feel that excitement. Like she really governs my mind. And with porn, you can escape that feeling after you've had it with that person. But if you really want to like fall for someone or be into someone, and in the bedroom just like be lost in that person, like I can't like you know, like guys we have a spank bank, and for some guys their spank bank is videos, you know, of things they've seen. And I say spank bank in a sense of like when you masturbate, what type of memory you're gonna pull up, but also like
I think
it's also like it becomes your like, my dad would say this, not about porn but in general, your frameware. Like it's setting you up for, you know, that's how your coding is to look at sex. And what I feel like I don't like that, and I'm not saying it's wrong if any of you guys watch porn.
Not your thing.
Or that's your thing.
It reminds me of the music that you were talking about.
Yeah,
the
same
soul,
thing.
The soul of music being played with your breath. Is different than what we're calling soulless EDM. That's fine to like it. There's plenty of talent and a lot of shit there. But EDM is the porn to actual sex and like a musical instrument or something, a band or something, right?
Exactly. Like no matter what, you're putting something into your mind, and our minds are using that for contextual, foundational knowledge to be, you know, used on forward. So you take in the porn and okay, you're like, oh, I like that, that gets me off, and then that's what your brain's like, I need more of that, and then you do have that opportunity with someone else, and all you can think is that's how it's supposed to be. And that's not natural at all. That is not, there's nothing real about that you're imposing on your moment with another individual, which already is, and like I said, if you do this and you guys work this way and your couples work, like sex works this way or whatever, but my view is there's no accountability, is not a good word, but you don't have as much control over that moment to create something. There's not as much creative liberty in that moment when you have a pre-programmed, you know, database walking in. So like sex for me is literally like a truth of heart in the moment. I don't have anything in my head that I've been like marinating on, unless I've been marinating on that woman. You know what I mean?
Chills.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's all I've been marinating on is her and what I want to do to her. and how I want to do it. And she's like,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So, but porn will stop that the minute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Doesn't even get me going.
And that's another form of monkey chatter. Mind chatter.
Right. I'm so
porn.
sorry to do this.
Yeah.
I have to pee so bad. I'm so sorry. I will pee behind this if you want to keep talking. And record. I don't care. I won't show my dong or anything. I'll do it here if you want me to do that.
Oh, no.
I'll pee into a cup or whatever.
We're not at Howard Stern level yet.
Fuck, I gotta go so bad.
Go,
Can we just like cut?
Go pee.
We'll edit this later, yeah?
Yeah, we can edit it. Because I'm not sure how you fill up a podcast while someone pees. We could put a timer again for another game. If you guys need to bet. Start it now. No, I'm just kidding.
That was actually perfect.
Oh, really? Right when I clapped, you started?
I started when you clapped.
Wow. I'm just on it today. Just drinking my kinky chai.
Oh my god.
You really had to go. I really appreciate
Well, I had to go so bad.
I really appreciate the fact that you were holding it.
Thank you. I was gonna try to hold it the whole time.
This is like another weird, like random factoid that I'm just pulling out of the air, but I heard somewhere, and I don't know. But you'd have to look it up. I haven't looked it up ever. But you make your best decisions when you have to pee. Have you ever heard that, Scott?
I can't hear you over the sound of my own trickle.
Ah, I'll wait till you're back.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. I'm shaking it off right now.
What was that song? Shake it once, shake it twice. What was that? Blinker. You're playing.
It was,
You're playing yourself.
yeah, it was like a Blink song or I don't remember. Shake it once, it's fine, it's all business. Shake it 3 times, you're playing with yourself. I don't remember.
You just skipped 2.
Yeah, well, 2 is more the same as 1. Oh man, thank you for waiting for me because I needed that. And I didn't want to cut into what you were talking about because like you said something that resonated, but again, we're opposites in this.
Right, exactly.
You said sex is beautiful and sex is they heard what you said.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. However, I will say that some people are probably a lot like me, so sex for me has been divided into 2 different lifetimes: pre-war and post-war.
Right.
So pre-war, I was a late bloomer. I didn't have sex until when we were in our apartment, like 23.
Yeah, 22, 23.
All right, so 22, 23.
Yeah.
I didn't have sex until then.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember when it was because I think we were all watching like a Deshi movie.
Get you in the mood with the Deshi movie.
My girlfriend at the time, no names.
No.
We just went into my bedroom, and then I think I remember coming out, and like later on, I was like, I just had sex, and you guys were like, "Yay, Scott!" Like you guys are so happy for me. Yeah, it was really. I felt very supported.
We got you back.
But like that, so that experience was candles,
Yeah.
bedroom.
Dude, you almost like burned down our place once.
Okay, that's a different story, and I'm
But
sure
that's
that wasn't
like
the only time
off
that happened.
of like the same time frame.
Probably it might have been.
Not the time he lost his virginity, but there was like a week or 2 later, almost burned down the place.
Where I was just still masturbating to that memory. Probably. No, but so my first time I had candle lights, comfy room, Boyz II Men playing their self-titled album, which is the best album of Boyz II Men. I'll Make Love to You, and On Bended Knee. I had melted chocolate and paintbrushes where we painted each other's bodies with melted chocolate. We ate it off each other, and then we were just like, "Do you just want to have sex?" It was kind of like that, like, we're doing everything. Like, do you just want to do it? I'm like, yeah, okay.
What was stopping you from ever having sex?
I think it was the religious stuff, and it was ingrained to me growing up. All those TV shows and all the messages and the after school specials. It's always like, you want to wait, like you really want it to be special your first time. Like that's what That's what I remember growing up was everyone's like,
What were you thinking when I was like having all this sex?
I don't think I was thinking about you having sex.
No, but not like because I lost it at 15.
I honestly, bro, I don't think I ever thought about it. Or
like, are you like, wow, did he?
No, I didn't
get
give
to
a
have
shit.
a special moment.
No, that's the thing.
Did you think about other people though? losing their
No, I didn't
virginity?
give a shit about what other
you were
people
just
did.
like, this is what I believe.
Well, yeah, exactly. Is what I thought I believed. It's just like, oh yeah, wait for that person. It's very old school. Very old school thinking. Contrast this now, juxtaposed to post-war Scott, and I find myself in the BDSM community.
Yeah.
I've got people tied up. I'm flogging somebody. They love it. I love it. And sex has taken on this. I think I sexualized the violence of Iraq.
But it's still like a vulnerability.
Sex?
Yeah.
Always.
That's the whole thing to it. When
Right,
I say
but
beauty, I'm not saying like
you're not saying like oh, like this is so,
no.
everything's so perfect. And
I'm just
beautiful.
saying the
This was a
phenomenon.
This was hair, by the way.
Yeah,
a woman's hair.
The phenomenon of having a connection with someone. My.
That's what I'm talking about. There was no.
You're still, even if you're like flogging someone.
No.
You're
understand.
either.
It was a. Up until very recently, BDSM for me was a way to get that out without being vulnerable at all to anybody.
So you just were on the side of
Yeah,
but then do you consider that sex?
Let's ask other people because I'm still trying to figure out my whole life.
No, and
I'm still trying to figure this out. So
Yeah.
I don't know. You do, but it's. I guess it's a different experience.
I'm not saying like because sex for me, angry, stressed, happy, like all kinds of.
This
emotions.
had none of those emotions.
Right.
Me.
Right.
For me, it was.
So this is the. I need to put myself in a place where I should be having emotions, but I'm gonna shut off entirely.
Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna provide this positive experience for this other person, and vicariously that fulfills me because some of the things that I'm doing might not have even been penetrative sex. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm just like doing things to this person, and it's almost like it's almost like a performance, frankly.
But they come,
Mm-hmm.
so they orgasm from you doing these things to them.
Sometimes there's certain people where there were no orgasms involved. They just got maybe it's an endorphin release, maybe it's a cathartic release, maybe a lot. There's been a few people they've dealt with past abuses was through not sort of reliving it, but reliving it a little bit, mirroring it. I would say.
I got what you're saying.
You know what I mean? And so possibly this was a sexualized therapy rather than sex itself.
Right.
So I would say that it's
That's what I'm saying. Like
shadow of itself, possibly a silhouette.
I mean, we were talking about this before too. There's human language, and then there's just what existing, and
there just is. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like what you're doing is not. We're not talking about the same thing. Penetrated sex with someone else.
Yeah, we're talking about like an off-brand sex.
Off-brand, like a
bag cereal sex.
A subsex. Sub of sex.
Subsex. I like subsex.
Subsex. Like it touches on sex.
Right.
The inspiration is there, but the reasoning for it is different.
Like grape drink.
Intention. Like grape
No,
drink.
like Sunny Delight.
Yeah.
It's not orange juice.
Or it's...
But it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's good in its own way. Like when you want Sunny Delight, you want Sunny Delight. You don't want fucking orange juice.
But hey, that goes back to some people don't know that they can enjoy Sunny Delight. Like
you can enjoy both separately.
Yeah. Right.
But I wasn't in that place, for those my late 20s essentially.
But sex for you is not always being in those roles.
Not anymore, no. But I still am having trouble.
When you were in those
authentic.
roles, were you having regular or what we? Let's not call regular sex, but
vanilla. Do you mean like vanilla sex?
Or
not even vanilla. Vanilla's
I mean, was that
tradition?
BDSM? All that shit, is that feeding? Just like in the basic of just being horny. Being horny, does that feed the horny in you? Like what motivates someone to jerk off and to get just bust a nut or rub Jill off, like
Right.
rub one out, get fucked, whatever. Like just to the natural, I need to have a sexual orgasm.
Right.
Is that feeding that urgency?
It's no. If anything, it was. Let's see. If anything, it was building up that need to release.
And then do you ever release, and how does that happen?
So that was an issue though back then.
Yeah.
Because the army had me on all sorts of pills.
Mm-hmm.
One of which was Zoloft.
Yeah.
And for me, that meant I could be hard as long as I want, and I can have sex for as long as I want, but I will not come.
Right.
No orgasm will be there, no matter how fast or hard or whatever. So I think in that time of my life, I was just like, okay, well, I can just get myself off eventually if I just beat myself raw afterward. But if I do all these other things leading up to it, it might maybe make it easier as well.
So this is a disconnect, right?
Multi-layered disconnect, my friend.
Disconnect, like 100%
Disconnect is a gentle word for that.
Because like I'm thinking when I have sex, like I'm fully conscious of my body. Like
Yeah.
I control my orgasms. Like
Yeah.
I could, if I really wanted to, like get into a place, and this is what I'm really good at getting my partner into, a place where, you know, I can teach someone to orgasm off a touch.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing, like where orgasm within moments, not orgasm for hours, just to really be in touch with the body. And that's why, and I think that's also goes back to like being associated, not having any distraction, associating control, connection with my body. Like meditation does that, all that stuff like that. But you've experienced trauma, and then they've prescribed you substances as well. And then there's already anxiety with sex when it's not going the way that it's supposed to go.
There's anxiety with sex before you even start having sex.
So there's a disconnect. And so you needed a control aspect. So do you feel like that's where that comes in?
Oh, 100%. It has to do with control. 100%. Control.
It's still, do you feel like, and I don't know if this word's right, but there's still like a masculinity aspect to it, because I can't complete this task. And I say that I can't come to a completion.
Yeah.
So let me have something that you're not going to be able to question it. Like you're not questioning my operational task.
Oh, that's it.
This
I
picture.
didn't think about it that way.
We're not focusing on my conclusion.
Right.
I'll take care of myself on my own time.
And you're saying that's a masculine.
Or
you're saying
because I'm not saying masculine, and that's wrong to put, but dominance doesn't necessarily have to be masculine.
No, but a lot of people associate it with that.
Yeah, and maybe that's not what I'm trying to say, but in the sense, as a man coming to completion, like can be, it's you know, it's a chemical reaction. So we wait for that moment. That's the conclusion.
Right.
By not doing that, there's this inferiority. So to change the role within that, like let's say that environment, a sexual environment, and have it where it's not my responsibility to show you the final job. We're focusing on you and your final completion and how you leave this room.
That might be a way I would think about it now, but in the times we're talking about, it was actually fucking opposite.
Yeah.
From my experience, it was more of, this is a superpower, me not coming, because I can fuck these people for as long as they want.
Right.
And then, oh God, I lost
you. I'm gonna.
What was the second part of
totally
that?
respond to
Yeah,
that.
go ahead. Do it now.
But I want to give you like more room to kind of come to it. So like, I get that, because every man thinks we have to last.
Right.
That's the first part. But then there's also, we want to come.
Right.
There is a feeling of pleasure from that. That is the end game.
Right.
There can be ways to get to that enhance it if we're aware of those ways to do that. I think when like tantra sex is really fun because build, but you know, you have to be able to do that without anxiety.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that can be really amazing.
That might have been to build without anxiety, might be what the whole point of being a dom in that community was, because if I'm so focused on what I'm doing with this lady, I guess I should say person, but I don't have time for the anxieties in me. Whereas if we're talking about normal sex these days, I can very easily get out. Like, it's very difficult for me to focus on sex, and I get out of it real easy.
So it's like, that fascinates me because, like, okay, what we call normal or vanilla sex, and maybe that's what my sex is considered, because it's more like based on feelings and intimacy in a couple situation, like committed monogamy. But like, what are you having sex for? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the question. And so, like, it's great to, like I said, that release the horniness, but being with someone and like that sex express, that conversation between each other it's another communication.
It's the primal communication.
It's the primal communication. Yeah. So like when you start to add things onto it, you know, the intentions behind, you got to ask yourself, what am I doing it for?
You know, it's interesting as we're talking about like that primal sex and the motivations. I can almost imagine the spectrum of sex going from this crown chakra to the root chakra.
Right.
So we're talking about the primal root chakra down here. Right. But sometimes, as I was describing my sexual exploits as a dom, these other people, it was all, I won't say up this.
Well, because you're not rooted. You're not rooted.
Exactly. It was all here. And then, you know, sometimes there's sex where it's like, it's nothing but heart and love.
It's all
and
love.
It may not be the best sex.
No.
It might, but it's totally different and fulfilling and loving and its own stuff.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I know. And I won't even get into the mouth chakra.
Yeah.
The throat chakra.
Yeah.
We'll talk all day about that's a whole.
Yeah, and I think that's
a monkey brain podcast.
You hit it right there. Well, so I was gonna say, like, taking it back to the monkey brain thing, when you're not rooted, and you're back into this chatter, like I said, this is my philosophy, but the narcissism starts to kick back in, and it becomes me again.
Mm-hmm.
In perfect reverence and love, and let's say within sex, my philosophy would be, like, I'm a giver, and obviously I love pleasure, but I'm in a place where I feel me giving, my partner is a giver as well. Mm-hmm. And that dance, that beautiful dance you do, that conversation you have, like, you don't need to be like, I need this to be, or they need to do this, or I have a checklist, or I have a standard, or something like that. Because you're not walking in with these expectations. You're in the moment. You're full of gratitude. You're in a place of, like, love, right? So it goes back to, like, not like everyone's really trying to make love scary, but that's true. Like, to be free is scary. To actually be free, to come in the first minute has people feel like it has its implications. To not come after a couple hours, people feel like it has its implications. So everybody thinks like some behavior is implications.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
because of the implications.
So that's what I mean. Like, so to get to a level, and I feel like with a partner where you can get to a spiritual level where that vulnerability, everything, because whether you do want it rough or whatever, anything like that, like, it's going to be so much more enjoyable if you can actually, like, pay attention.
100%.
Like,
I'm finally getting to that place.
Like, if you can,
I want to participate in this, like, actively.
And all my partners that are women, I've said, like, I've had women that have had sexual abuse. A lot of it is bringing through meditation and bringing to the moment and understanding that you're free. Like, this is your body. You're free to feel good, you know?
Part of it is I haven't had partners that reciprocated that.
Giving.
And it's been like, oh, you're the man, you're the masculine, you're the top, the dom, whatever words you want to use. Yeah. You're directing this, and I am, you do what we want. But there's no, like, I don't want to. If I wanted to fuck an inanimate thing, like, I'll buy myself a real doll.
But and
do whatever I want.
That's the work that goes on, like, even after you had sex after the first time. That's the, I'm gonna appreciate you as a human being next to me, your body. Start to really look at it, understand it, having those communication.
These aren't normal things for me in my experience.
No, and for a lot of people, they're not either. Like, there are people that haven't seen each other naked without, like, they've only had sex with the lights off or something.
Yeah, the
You know
lights
what I
off
mean?
thing is crazy.
Yeah, and so
I get it.
so it's always like this with my partners, is like showing them like, no, we're pressing pause. Like,
Yeah.
I want to know how you feel when like I kiss you there, and we're gonna like press a moment and really pay attention to me kiss you there. You know what I mean? Or, you know, like, really, we're not going anywhere. We're pressing pause. This moment is for this right now.
Do you ever, in the busy, constantly going world we live in right now, is it hard for you to ever tune off that and be just 100% in this pleasure place with your partner where you don't have to rush, you take time and appreciate?
I've noticed like my patterns when I've been in relationships have been like, because I've always been with people that most of the time match my sex drive. So it's like we're waking up early to have sex.
But beyond drive though, I'm talking about
no, like to
fucking
be
focusing.
Caught into that, even if it's like a quick, like we just need to get a quick one out of the way.
Yeah.
Oh, we're like, you finish, like we both get done, we're like, fuck, I wish we could just be staying here right now and doing this. Like, oh, I gotta go to work.
All right, so then the opposite of that though, you can, I guess I'm trying to figure out.
It motivates you,
bro. Here's what I'm trying to ask you.
Okay.
How the fuck long can you be in this intimate time with a person and not have your mind start wandering off to do other things? I know this has always been a traditional woman thing.
It becomes the motivator.
But it's not just a woman thing.
It becomes the motivator, though.
What becomes the motivator?
Like, it just adds on to, like, oh, the more I do well in what is in front of me, the more I deserve to
No.
have
That's not
this
what we're
great
talking
sex.
about. I'm talking about,
and
like, you're having great sex and pops into your head, fuck, I have this deadline, or shit, I'm out of soap, or, you know, like,
I should be doing something else.
yeah.
No,
everything
nothing in my head is more important than
That's what I'm trying to fucking. Yeah. That's what I wanted to know, and I think I knew that.
Yeah.
But I wanted them to know that because you are a fucking solid. You're rock solid when it comes to your focus.
So
on
what's
sex.
so funny is like I am so regimented in my day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like my schedule, waking up, doing everything. But like a Sunday has always been the day where
Sexy Sunday.
Sexy Sunday, like. And it starts on Sexy Saturday night, you know?
Yeah,
like,
it does.
Friday night, you're getting sex every morning, every night. Like
Some people are not.
Yeah,
I
but in my relationships, we're always getting sex.
Right.
But for Sunday is, and if people have seen me when I'm in relationships, my social media, like Sunday, I disappear. And, you know...
Sex.
It's Sunday
Sexy
sex
Sunday.
in bed, and I'm someone that, but you gotta understand, like, constantly with me, like, I'm thinking about that woman, and she's not walking in front of me without me, like, perversely wanting her so bad.
Oh,
and just like oogling at her and just, you know, like,
I won't keep my hand
by her.
Yeah.
And I've like,
I have to.
That's why I've never, like, when I've been in a committed relationship, I've never thought of anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like I'm just so into that person.
Right.
And I'm just like the taste, the smell, the everything. Like, you know, you're just like intoxicated by them. Mm. And I think women are kind of skeptical by it. They don't realize that someone can actually feel that way.
I think I don't think I'm going on a limb when I say this, but I think you're in the minority.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, the minute I have a woman, like, because I'm sexually attracted to everything.
Right.
Men, women, like, I see beautiful things. But there's that, it goes back to the conversation we were having before where I can be sexually attracted to it, but I don't want it in bed. Yes. I have men, women wanting me all the time, but I don't want to be in bed with them. I just want that one that I have that connection with.
Right.
And that one, oof, like, when I'm in that, and that becomes the motivator of everything, and I'm always wanting to date that person, like, even when I'm already with them, mm-hmm. just like they become the object of my affection. And I don't know if that's a Cancer thing or what it is, but they just become so much like
Cancer, the astrology, not the,
yeah.
not
because my life's gonna
ontological.
end soon, and I don't take anything for granted.
Right. No, not like that. We're talking Cancer, yeah. The crab, right?
Yeah, the crap.
Cancer.
Yeah.
How?
We went an hour and a half.
Oh shit! We should wrap it up.
Is there anything you want to add? I mean,
No, I mean I'm just kind of like I need a moment. I was taken aback. I didn't know it was an hour and a half.
yeah.
No, there's nothing else that I wanted to say. We were talking about sex, so we can
Yeah, I mean,
talk about
I
sex
think
forever.
like essentially that it's kind of funny that we talked about it, and a lot of this today was about mind chatter and everything.
Yeah.
But I think sex is a motivator, whether you know it makes you feel good, it doesn't make you feel good, whether you have anxiety with it, you don't have anxiety, whether you feel you need to have control of it, whether you don't, whether you have trauma from it, so on and so forth. We are sexual creatures, and it is influencing and narrating everything we do, I think.
Okay, so we're gonna have to do our next episode more sex because there's a lot. Here's the best part.
It becomes a little bit of this, yeah.
Dude, and here's the best part about you and I is yin and yang here, or maybe yin and yang. I think it's yin and yang. I think.
Yeah.
But like, especially with sex, I think nothing is more different in our experiences of the world
Right.
than our sexual experiences.
Right.
And that's fucking crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because everything you're saying makes sense, but it's very foreign to me. And I'm not trying to talk more about it because we do need to end this episode.
Yeah.
So this is just a little teaser. We're gonna juxtapose ourselves sexually. I think next episode.
I think we'll have to do a part 2.
It's got to be part 2. We're gonna compare our proverbial penises, and we're gonna let it all hang out. We're gonna let our hearts junk hang out.
Let's do that then.
In the most non-threatening,
Yeah.
assaulty sort of way.
Well, until part 2 then.
What did we learn? What did we learn today?
To be sexually liberated. And to cut out, or no, actually first we were talking about cutting out mind
Well, it doesn't
chatter.
have to be in chronological order, bro.
Oh, sorry.
Whatever we learned.
To be free sexually and take away anxiety from it.
And free sexually doesn't mean promiscuous. It just means fuck those walls that you've got about sex.
Get rid of all the conditioning.
Decide
the
yourself.
blockades.
Yeah, decide
Yeah.
yourself. If you're an asexual person, because there's asexual people, be asexual.
Yeah.
But come to that conclusion by yourself. Okay, so we've learned that. We've learned who we are, why we're here, and the difference between the monkey brain and the ox brain.
Right.
Which we'll talk more. That'll be a recurring theme.
Right.
obviously.
I think. Yeah. And I actually like. I can't wait for part 2.
Part 2 is gonna be great.
I want
to be really great.
Yeah. Like if anything, this is part A, Addy, and now we gotta see the other side. And I think we're really gonna come with a lot. And I think it's important people know your side. I think a lot more people don't know how to discuss their anxieties with it in a lot of different ways.
No, I know there's a lot of like there's some guilt, at least from me. And some like
I always have people coming into my chat and talking to me about their sexual anxieties.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say talking about my sexual.
Yeah, about Scott's sexual.
Let me tell you
anxieties.
something about.
Yeah, but so I feel like there is a lot. Like people really don't know how to be connected to it because of all the things that happen.
Well, and they might feel really bad because their partner doesn't necessarily understand. They can't communicate it to their partner. Or it's like it's not a you thing.
Yeah.
So that can be difficult, and we'll talk about that another time.
So I think the end of it, you guys are never alone.
No.
We're here.
We're always here.
We're always
Literally,
here.
we live here.
We live here.
This is my spot on the couch.
This is my
Zaddy's spot, and this is you can't see it, but we have a projector.
Yeah.
We're very proud of our projector.
King
we
of
hung
the
it up.
castle.
Hey.
But thank you again, you guys, for joining us for this conversation.
I think that we're actually on different platforms now.
We're on oh yeah.
They can actually follow us now on things.
Yeah. Follow us, the Monkey Brain Podcast, the Monkey Brain Podcast on Spotify, Google Play, SoundCloud,
Not iTunes.
YouTube, not iTunes.
Not iTunes yet.
Until
We're too bad for iTunes.
We're too badass.
We're
for
a little
iTunes.
naughty for iTunes.
But you know, Follow us everywhere else. And thank
Follow
you
us all the
again, you
places.
guys.
I decided.
Oh, Instagram.
Oh,
The Monkey Brain
Instagram.
Podcast.
It's the one social media I know how to. I can use. I won't even say I know how to use it. Because watching some of our friends like Instagram game,
Yeah.
I realize I'm basically on MySpace compared to them.
Oh, dude.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
you know some of the people I'm talking about
Yeah,
too. They're
yeah.
fucking great. But yeah, Instagram. Follow us on Instagram and
Subscribe. Just subscribe.
To
Subscribe.
iTunes.
Subscribe. Let us know what you guys like, what we should listen to.
Give us
and
a
what
high
you guys
five.
want. And give us a high five.
Like if you see us
give
in
us
the world.
likes. Share with your friends.
Yeah.
We hope you guys enjoyed this.
I would take real world likes too. Like if you want.
Oh, yeah. Give us a hug. Give us a high five.
Yeah, I like it.
I like that.
We're in Sunnyside.
We're
You know where to find us.
Queens.
We'll be hanging out with Cal Penn.
And that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Kwansu dudes.